Welcome to the Startup Espresso. I'm Hall T. Martin, the host of the show, where we talk about raising funding for your startup and the time it takes to have an espresso. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, this is Hall T. Martin with the Startup Funding Espresso, a daily shot at startup funding and investing. The omission bias is defined by Wikipedia as the tendency to judge harmful actions, commissions, as worse or less moral than equally harmful inactions, omissions. Founders will often omit details rather than give outright lies when pitching their startup to an investor. Ultimately, in due diligence, all the facts will become known. It's not a matter of if, but rather when. To overcome the omission bias, consider the following. While you can't put everything in the first pitch, it's important to inform the investor of key issues rather than letting them find out on their own. Coming from the founder, the investor will consider it as a new fact about the startup. Coming from their own due diligence, the investor will consider it something being covered up. Instead of procrastinating, make sure you are timely with the information as you are building a relationship with the investor. Trust is the foundation of that relationship. Best to put everything on the table as soon as possible with the investor so there are no surprises later. Thank you for joining us for the Startup Funding Espresso, where we help startups and investors connect for funding. Let's go start listening to today. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.